This is an examination of the hidden human condition.
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
The Hidden Killers Podcast.
With Tony Bruschi.
Taking your calls on the stories that we're following for you. 888-5-KILLER, 888-554-5537 to weigh in and share your thoughts with us on the many things that we're covering for you. Of course, the Nurse of Death, Nurse Lucy Letby, one that we are covering for you here and on the podcast channel, Nurse of Death, the Lucy Letby story. I think a lot of people, they strive to have a podcast named after them like that, wouldn't you?
Oh, my goodness.
Where Nurse of Death is the title.
It drives the point home, doesn't it?
It just kind of gets right there, right to it. Let's go to a caller that got some thoughts on Letby and some of the comments. Hi.
Hey there, my name's Jamie, and I'm calling from Nebraska, and I'm calling about the nurse. And you wanted opinions. I mean, I have never worked with anybody who obviously killed someone, but in my line of work, they fraudulently bill, say they did things they didn't, and they resign effective immediately. So the employee has to resign, but the company does not have to report them to the state if their license does not get investigated. So they just resign effective immediately and move on to the next place. Thank you. Love your podcast.
Thank you for that thought. Thoughts?
Well, yeah. I guess the medical field is a little bit different.
Mm-hmm.
And you need some proof. And plus we're dealing with babies who are already sick. So, this nurse has how many babies dying around her. It takes a while to build the case. It takes a while for her colleagues to go, something's not right here. Something is really, every time Lucy's on, we lose babies, so it takes a little bit of time. So you're not going to see, an immediate resignation. And she is still claiming she's innocent too, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of lost my train of thought, but I think it's going to take longer. In the hospital, they need to worry about their reputation too. So they're trying to keep some of this under wraps for quite some time, I would think.
Yeah, I mean, it's something that one would hope that they could get to a little bit faster, considering people kept dying.
Right.
And I don't really know why they didn't or why they couldn't have put some sort of precautionary measure in place saying, we don't know what the hell's going on here, but this person can't be near these kids, and maybe do that a little bit faster than they did. Or
be supervised every time that she's working. But again, they were talking about having some staffing issues. Maybe they couldn't have somebody on babysitting her, for lack of a better term, I guess.
Well, and you wouldn't expect someone to be doing this to begin with. That's and people,
right.
Kids do die in this type in the NICU unit. It happens. It's the nature of what it is. But it took the statistics to go up enough for them to start going, this is a little different. This is not.
Exactly.
It makes me wonder, do you think Lucy went into this with the intent of killing babies, or do you think it just kind of started where it happened a few times and it was completely, honestly natural, or maybe something she did fuck up, not intentionally, but then realized, oh my gosh, this is how easy it is to kill a kid, and got some sort of joy out of it, and then it became a thing where it was some sort of thrill or pleasure or control. I mean, ultimately what we're talking about here is the ultimate control, the control over someone's life. And if someone doesn't have a lot of control in their own life, they tend to try and find other ways to control others' lives in different ways, shapes, or forms. Oftentimes that is more so in like a relationship with others, or some sort of parental thing, or being in a position of power, maybe a police officer or something of that nature. But hospital, that's another venue for that to be exercised. And it's good to have someone who wants to be in control when they're good at it and they have good intentions. But of course, it can also, I think, probably feed very easily into nefarious intention, and someone who also gets a great deal of pleasure out of it for the opposite reasons, where they can take ultimate control and end lives of people who couldn't say anything about it.
And we saw too how she seemed to revel in, the chaos that would ensue, the attention that it would draw. She was looking on Facebook. She wanted to see reactions there. She was, anytime an alarm went off, she'd come running. And yeah, that's the way a medical professional should be. But nurses were also saying, she wasn't in charge in this room and an alarm would go off and she'd come running. So it seemed like she liked the excitement and the chaos, and maybe she was an adrenaline junkie. Maybe this was her way of attracting attention to herself in some indirect way, because she felt that she was less than somehow. Because we saw in some of the evidence that they've got a note where she was wondering if she was enough. In one of the court case or the court sessions, she had texted a doctor asking if she had done enough or is enough. Not just only did I do enough, but am I enough? So there's a lot of self-esteem issues there. And I think, who knows, maybe it did start with just a innocent child passing away due to their circumstances, and the attention that it garnered for her. She went, wow, this is something, maybe I could cause this chaos and get the attention put back on me somehow. Who knows?
And, as much as you want to say, well, that doesn't make sense, it totally makes sense. There are people that feed on this sort of evil, and it's one of the only ways that they feel. And sometimes it takes very extreme behavior for them to do it. I don't know any other word for it than evil. It's interesting. I was reading an article here towards the end of her reign of terror, where one of the doctors, Dr. John Gibbs, had texted another nurse saying he become concerned about Miss Letby's presence in the unit. And then Letby replies back saying, do I need to be worried about what Dr. Gibbs was asking?
Yeah.
She received the response, no, he was asking to make sure that normal procedures are being carried out. The doctor who Miss Letby was previously accused of being briefly flirty with told her, there's nothing to worry about. Nobody's accused you of neglecting a baby or causing a deterioration, he added. Miss Letby responded, I know. Just worry I haven't done enough. We've lost 2 babies I was caring for, and now this happened today. Makes you think I'm missing something or not good enough. The doctor responded, Lucy, if anyone knows how hard you've worked over the last 3 days, it's me. If anybody says anything to you about not being good enough or performing adequately, I want you to promise me that you'll give my details to provide a statement. I don't care who it is, and if I don't care if I've left that trust. Promise? Miss Letby responded, well, I sincerely hope I won't ever be needing a statement, but thank you, I promise. The doctor told the nurse that she was one of the few nurses across the region that I would trust with my own children. So maybe there was some mutual flirting going on there. But this is someone who I think, and you can add this to the equation, she got attention. And if she could be, essentially, she becomes the victim at the same time, because people aren't blaming her, but she happens to be into all these dark situations over and over and over. And then she'll need comfort and care from people who otherwise wouldn't be giving her comfort and care had these children not died on her watch. Right. So I think it almost kind of became a cycle. I think there's probably a thrill there to it that she needed and couldn't find in other places. And then she got this interpersonal reaction with men or a man that she otherwise wouldn't get. So to her, to a narcissist, this is all good for you. Reality be damned. And the people that you're killing and ruining the lives of, that doesn't matter, because you're getting this positive feedback and comforting over here and reassurance that you're a good nurse over and over, even though you're fucking killing people.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
I think that
I don't even know what else to say about that, because she sounds like somebody who is just missing something, missing part of her self-esteem, missing confidence. And now she's getting attention. She's getting what she needs. It's not the right thing, but it's something.
Well, with some people, I think they may have tried it different ways and it doesn't work. or the way that they've tried, society doesn't respond the way that these people think they should be responded to. And then they have to go to more and more extreme lengths to get what otherwise should be easy to obtain or require, not murderous effort, if you will. I think Kohberger is probably somewhat in that same camp to a certain extent. If, in fact, he's guilty of those murders, I think it was I want to see what this feels like. I want to go through this whole charade. I want the attention, and I'm going to go out in a giant bang if I'm arrested and just live this up. And it didn't, again, others be damned. That to me kind of feels like where that's going, if in fact he is guilty, if we're to analyze it that way. I know, dark case. And of course, if you want more on Lucy Letby, be sure to follow our channel on that. Nurse of Death, the Lucy Letby story. Great one to go to sleep to at night. And if you enjoy crying yourself to sleep, or if you're a horrible parent and you want to go, listen to this, be happy you're still alive. That might be a little extreme too, but just saying.
This is an examination of the hidden human condition
This is the Hidden Killers Podcast.
with Tony Bruschi.
You want to weigh in on any of the cases we're following for you? 888-5-KILLER, 888-554-5537. We would love to hear your insight to anything we're following here for you. For Stacy, I'm Tony. Stay with us.